It's time for Cats Talk Wednesday. Small town and big city join forces. Vinny Hardy of Lynch, Kentucky, and Terry Brown of Louisville, Kentucky, team up to give you free-flowing, laid-back sports talk. Focus on Kentucky Wildcats, as well as pertinent information in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball.
Back in here with another fun show. Terry T.B. Brown, Vinny Hardy, Cats Talk Wednesday, BS3 Network, BS3Network.com, BS3TVLive.com. Check out the podcast on all those areas. Check out the other podcasts that are part of the network. Got a fun show, TB. Man, we got fun stuff to talk about. We on fumes, a little sleep deprived, but we all right, man.
Yeah, and I had the benefit of actually being in the Central Time Zone, but you know the problem is when you watch your team in a game like that, you know it's hard to come down, man. Whether it's a win or a loss, it's just hard to. You know, I always say, you know, sports are dumb. You know, they're inconsequential. But there's very few things that get my heart pumping like this and get me as excited as watching my teams play sports. So it's a catch-22. But let's start with the elephant in the room, man. We back? Is Kentucky back? It feels that way. The vibes are high.
Hard to argue.
You know, the last 6 months since Pope got hired, I don't think there have been too many missteps. You know, some people were upset about the the practice that you had to pay to get into and things like. I know that was an issue, but everything else has been note perfect. And so, this was a game the last few years that the Cats struggled to win.
Yeah.
You know, how many of those? I just looked at the Champions Classics. Double OT loss to Michigan State one year, right? Like a lot of these last year against was it Kansas last year?
But I think so.
All these close games, right? These games against name opponents, and I got to the point last night. Well, I started the game and I was like, you know, I hope it's a Duke blowout. That way I can check out and go on about my day and we can move on to whoever's next. Then the game starts. I don't know if anybody else does this when you're watching the game and it's like, all right, it's not going to be a blowout. But then you get to the point where it's like, we have to win this. You know, once we got within 3 or 4 points, I guess with 2-3 minutes left, I was like, we have to win.
Yeah.
We've played well enough to win. This is one. I don't want to do what Duke fans are doing today, which we have done a lot the last few seasons. And I'm still proud of my team. They gave it all they had. It's just November. We're going to be okay. I'm not mocking Duke fans for that because we've been there.
No.
And it was flipped. They finished strong. I mean, they outscored Duke by 15 in the second half. 9-point deficit to 5-point win, or if I'm doing the math right.
14.
Yeah. But that was gutting it out. And I've seen Duke, we missed a bunch of shots, but neither team played as good as they're capable of playing. Yep. Right? You're not going to have those games. Most of the time, we got to figure out how to get this done. In credit to Coach Pope and his assistants, Coach Brooks, who we've had on, they flipped the script. The one thing I kind of agree on with the Cal bashers about is lack of adjustments.
Yeah.
That's the thing. All the gripes I had with Cal, it basically came down to adjustments. or lack thereof.
Preparation or something, yeah.
Yeah, it just, it's one of those things, all this stuff, it's not black and white. But just looking back, there were just so many games where it's like, to use his euphemism, a tweak here or there. You know what I mean? Like, the more I get moved away from that John Wall team, I'm like, how did a 1-3-1 zone derail this team?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Simple things like that. Like, how do we not close the gap? Any of those times we played UConn, pick one.
Mm-hmm.
Pick one, right? So it's one of those things, and I'm gonna touch back a little bit. We gotta let the Cal stuff go, right? This notion of I ain't seen nothing like this since the 1990s. Really? Okay. Well, you missed the 38-1 team. It was a fun team, right? You missed the national championship. I had a friend of mine on my Facebook post. I was like, great win, but we got whatever my Facebook post said. And everybody's thing is they'll tell you they haven't watched any Kentucky basketball 4 or 5 years. And I responded, well, you would have enjoyed watching Oscar Tshiebwe play. And his response was, of course, I'm Oscar, but you had to pick Oscar. You the one that said you ain't watched him in 5 years. Or this is the biggest regular season win I saw going back to like 2015, 2016. Let me tell you something, Vinny. In January of 2022, the Wildcats went to number 5, Kansas, where Bill Self has lost 6 regular season non-conference games, and we blew their doors off. That was fine. That was fun, right? We don't have to do this. We don't have to. We can just be happy with Pope. Because I think what happens is we are really letting those last 3 seasons color everything about what the previous coach did. I get it. Mark Pope, he understands the assignment. Right? I get it. All I try to do is remind people, you know who else understood it? John Vincent Calipari. I know, we got our mojo back. I'm old enough to remember the state of the program in 2008 and 2009. Anybody else remember the Billy G years?
Mm-hmm.
The last couple Tubby years? That was a downturn in those middle 2000s. Cal understood the assignment because year 1, Wall, Cousins, Bledsoe. 31-3. We got the John Wall dance. We got our vibe back. That's understanding the assignment as well. Year
Still there.
2.
There you
go. Coach Cal ends the 13-year Final Four streak, which to me feels like understanding the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Am I breaking up?
It lagged for just a second, but yeah, I think you're back. You back.
Okay,
good.
I don't want to. But that's year 2 is ending the Final Four drought. Year 3 is the school's 8th national championship. That's not understanding the assignment. It's okay to say it was time for Cal to go, but we don't need to do all this. Yes, it's refreshing that we've moved on, but look, last night, going back to last night, it was a great game. And when your star players aren't playing great, but you still get it done. Look, Andrew Carr, hey, I kind of slept on him the first couple of games, but he played position defense against Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Right place, wrong time. He's got a motor. He feels a little Michael Kidd Gilchrist-ish to me. That's the way it feels to me. Like, I know that's high praise, but I'm like, you
Mm.
look at the last 2 minutes, we win that game because Owe is
Everywhere.
decided I'm getting it, right? Just a great all-around game, even when you're not shooting great. Like, look, I love this team already. I love Kerr. Like, we need that guy. We need that guy that's going to needle other teams, because that's my only gripe is we've been too nice. We've had a lot of nice guys. We need a jerk, a lovable jerk. That's right. And Kerr is that. And I don't know where I've been. I didn't realize till just last night. His first name is Kerr is because his dad liked the old Chicago Bulls. And I'm like, so you watch the 90s Chicago Bulls and your takeaway was Steve Kerr? But to each their own. To each their own. I mean, didn't name him Michael, didn't name him Scotty, not even a Dennis.
Yeah.
I guess it would be Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, I guess.
Yeah.
None of that.
Didn't resonate with him.
Yeah. Harper. All those guys. But Steve Kerr's your guy. Fine. It turned out to be great because Steve Kerr, his basketball resume as player, coach, whatever. He's I mean, where you have him as a little sidebar talking about NBA coaches, you got him top 10.
What, 4 titles?
Off the top of my head, you got Auerbach, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Popovich, Casey Jones.
Casey gets slept on, I think.
Yeah, he does. Because when we talk about those Boston teams, the coach never comes up.
Yeah.
Whereas with LA, we always talk about Riley, but Casey Jones gets forgotten. But Steve Kerr's on that short list.
And how many titles as a player? 5, 6, a couple with the Spurs and 3 with the Bulls or something.
Yeah, I think he's got 5. Because I think because remember he won 4 straight.
Yeah, that's strong.
He won on San Antonio 99. But for me, just a great win. The fan base needed this. This is a step in the right direction. I don't think anybody was, and I saw a lot of people. And I hate the scolds. I try not to do this. Y'all think we won a national championship? Nobody thinks that. But it had been like 6 years since we won in the Champions Classic. 2 straight losses to Duke. Like, this is not what we're. Yes, I'm excited to win one of these.
Yeah,
because that's what you and I've been saying every year leading up to. All right, let's see what happens. I want to start winning those.
And go in feeling confident that you can win it. I mean, as far as the Cal stuff, everybody gonna do or not do what they want. People, some gonna move on. Some are gonna continue to look back. Some are gonna look for every opportunity to compare and contrast the first few months of the Pope era to the end of the Cal era. It's just, everybody is. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth to.
Yeah.
Whatever. Do what you're gonna do. I can't worry about if they still looking back and stuck and this is refreshing. Oh, an inbound play. Oh, we haven't. And some are the recency bias of Cal is just burned to the point that they have forgot the first 10 years or don't want to.
To be fair, Cal himself said it was a 10-year job.
Yep.
I mean, if he walked away, when was it? I'm trying to think. When was it? Was it the Lakers? No, it wasn't the Lakers. It was the Cavs, right?
Yeah, that's where he was. Everybody thought he was really gone.
Right.
Yeah.
We thought he was gone, but if he left in 16 or 17.
That's great.
I mean, that's our,
right after Fox and now,
yeah. I mean, that's We put him on the Patino level.
Mm-hmm. And the stat before that, college sportscast, Brad Harvey and them, first time they've been 3-0 since Fox, Monk, and Bam, which that's crazy.
Well, you've got the Champions Classic always being early, probably game 3.
And we lose. You're right.
And then the 1 year it wasn't, you know what else happened then? Evansville.
That's right.
The 1 year it wasn't, we had Evansville as our warm-up game.
Walter.
But
Man.
just
That's right. Golly.
They kept shooting, but I was really impressed with the defense. When it looked like Duke was bullying a little bit physically, I love that response. And that's what I put on Oweh. Was like, no, you're not bullying me. Mm-hmm. And when it mattered, Carr locked up Flag. Now, Flag's gonna be great.
He is.
But I saw a clip of somebody breaking it down, and Duke has all this talent too. More talent than us, I would say.
Yeah.
But the last 2.5 minutes, Duke was basically like, here you go, Cooper Flag.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go to it.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't seem like what you should do for the last 2 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Even with talented freshmen, like that seemed like a lot.
And that's his
all right,
first
you got
big
this.
game ever. And he's 17. I mean, they threw him out there. It was like, put us on your back, Cooper.
Yeah, and I know he's played in some big time environments, but Duke Kentucky Champions Classic probably as bright as the spotlight's been on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because thank you ESPN and all the Duke alums working at ESPN and all that. But just a great win. I'm very excited about this team. It's looking a little funny that we were picked 8th in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
If you say Duke is very, very good, and I believe they are,
I think so.
I mean, we got our work cut out for us in the SEC. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But we are not playing on Wednesday and Thursday.
No. Because they show that they can roll their sleeves up and win. It don't have to be pretty and aesthetic, and the threes are flowing, and the offense is a well-oiled machine of precision and detail and thought. They tried, and Duke took them out of that. They was missing shots, got a little ragged, got down 9-10, and it was looking like we was wobbling.
Absolutely.
And then, like you said, second half, like Brad said, they just said, okay, we just gonna have to scrap, and we just gonna have to claw, and so this how it's gonna be. And they still found a way to win.
Well, if you remember during the first TV timeout, the second half, they came back, and the sideline reporter was basically like, John Shire was upset that his team was being basically punked by Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a learning lesson for everybody, but the Cats came fighting back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
The first 5 points in the second half went from 46-37 to 46-42, just like that. And you're like, okay, here we go.
And it was just a grinded out game, which is what you're going to get at this point. A lot of people, Pete Cal, using him as a reference point again, we knew what we saw in November wasn't going to be what we got in March, usually, right? Sometimes I'll go back and I'll watch the first Kansas game from 2012 at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Where that one was like an elevated pickup game.
Mm-hmm.
Like we won, and people want to talk about, talent wins. That game was just, we've got Anthony Davis, right? The championship game, we're running offense. They know it. Everybody knows what they're doing. It was just two different games. Mm-hmm. So we may not have that big jump as far as the players understanding what it takes to win at this level.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is we're going to have a jump because these dudes are going to figure out how to play with each other.
Right.
That's the thing too. This was a close game, and was only game 3 with these guys under these bright lights.
Yo,
so
hate to say it, by February they'll be, Stockton Malone level chemistry.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And and this bodes well when you have to. I don't have the schedule in front of me. When you have to go to Tuscaloosa, Starkville, Austin, Knoxville. Hey, you can go back to this. Hey guys, we can figure this out. We can.
And you hear Mark Pope, one of his post game interviews. He said a lot of it. These guys had already fixed it before I got back to the locker room. They're already talking amongst themselves, and we need to do this, this, and this before he even got back there to even start talking about it. Because first of all, he got experience. We get a bunch of old dudes, Carr and Butler. Butler been in a national championship game already. He so he wasn't Cooper Flag. Okay, hot shot freshman Duke. So these guys been around, not together collectively, but at their previous stops. They ain't just now showing up fresh out of high school.
And I know you love Butler. I was thinking about this last night. I meant to text you, and I got sidetracked, but I was like, Butler is a Vinny point guard, because I know you like those low squat, kind of stocky, kind of like a Ty Lawson or an Ed Cota, right? Yeah. Or Steve Logan from Cincinnati.
Wow,
those are my kind of. And I love a good college point guard like that. Like, don't get me wrong, right? I love Wall and I love Brandon Knight, but give me one of those dudes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like
5'10", 6'1", just Travis Best.
Yeah, like Ulis was that, not quite as stocky and big.
Yeah.
But I like it because sometimes Butler he dips that shoulder, he gets to the rim, and good things happen.
He killed us, but I loved Devin Downey in South Carolina, man. He used to eat us up, but he was so quick and strong. Stop on the dime with those pull-ups, the handles. I mean, it's a love from Devin Downey.
I love a great point guard, and honestly, that was the problem with Duke last night. They have a point guard, and so we watched the WNBA a lot this year, and the wife was kind of a novice with basketball, so I'm kind of sharing my thoughts of watching basketball for 40 years, and the difference between having a good point guard to not having a point guard is, you can score without one, but it's hard. Like, it's just everything you're getting is just you're working for it. And when Kentucky D'd up, Duke didn't get any easy baskets. Like, Flag hit some great shots, but they were contested, tough shots. And if someone hits one of those, you tip your cap. But I thought
he hit a couple of those where he got the one where he got fouled and he somehow got that.
Yeah. Like, a lot of that crazy stuff, and that's going to happen. But look, I'm excited. Got my 41 jersey on. I'm excited about that.
You saw AD and Michael Eaves. Hope is hope.
Hey, it's great, man. It's great. It really is. It was a good social media experience last night. I forgot when Kentucky. When your sports team is good, that's the best time of social media. I was like, I can't like these tweets enough.
That's true.
And it's just good.
Yeah, just all the highlights and everybody's thoughts, and just it was just like you said, it was kind of that we back vibe.
Yeah,
didn't like that in a while.
Right, and no one reasonably is saying this guarantees a national championship. I think what most Kentucky fans are saying last night and into this morning is, this is pretty cool. This is the way it should be. We should be winning some of these games.
And
it shouldn't be, well, we played hard. Okay. Or, this happened. I'm glad things happened and we won.
With no purpose, yeah. Mark Cook, you get some grown men out there playing now. Yo, they sure. And that kind of was eye-opening to me because look, Amari Williams is a grown man. And Duke's size, he looked small next to Maluka, whatever dude's name is for Duke. And he was having to pump fake him and pump. I was like, look how small Amari looks to this dude is a monster.
Yeah, hey, there was that play. It felt like goaltending because I'm like, how are you going to block a hook of a 7-footer? But I'm like, that might have been a good block. Like, okay, but the important thing is they kept battling.
Yeah.
That's the expectation. Mm-hmm. But schematically, they figured it out.
And Williams was 3 for 12 or something like that. On the break, you still sometimes you get a wild pass. Sometimes you get a nice dime. But he got that and one where he got knocked down and made a shot. Mm-hmm. There was another one. I was trying to find the point in the game, but it was a point where Kentucky was a little wobbly, hadn't scored in a while. He hit a little 10, 12-foot push shot. It hit the rim and died. I mean, a brickety brick. And it looked like the ball just kind of melted into the rim and then it fell in. That kept us from getting them separating even more. That was a huge bucket. As ugly as it was, we needed it at the time.
And that's the thing too, is you and I talk about all the time about game pressure. And for basketball, it's that double digit, right? Mm-hmm. For some reason, 11-point lead or 11-point deficit feels different than 9.
Sure it is.
Like it just, because if it's 9 or fewer points, you're like 3 stops, 3 scores, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can do that.
Yep.
And it's those little things that keep that 8-point lead from becoming a 10-point lead. That's the thing with I love about basketball is there's so many different probabilities that happen.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful. So at any rate, great game. I'm excited. Just a tough team. And so I give Pope that he does understand the assignment.
Yeah.
I give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also counter, we only hired one coach in Kentucky history that didn't understand the assignment. And that's the dude that wouldn't quit being a jackass during the halftime interviews.
Yeah.
More than anything else,
mm-hmm.
The halftime interviews.
Janine Edwards just trying to do her job.
This dude ain't built for that.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's and we as Kentucky fans have been very fortunate because every coach has shown up and understood the assignment. Adolph Rupp, welcome. We're trying to build something here. I got you. Right?
42 years. I got you.
Joe B. Hall, hey, you got to replace the big guy. You got it? And again, year 3, he's national runner-up. Joe B.
Yeah.
That's year 3. So keep that in mind. I think Eddie Sutton got it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Pitino understood what had to take place to get from probation and not being on TV, which that sounds crazy, right? For a team that you can't be on TV. Like that's
and that
sounds crazy.
Crippling punishment. That was
man.
It was like getting your own switch, going out and picking your own switch for your mom and dad to whoop you with.
And so there's that. I think Tubby understood the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I may, Vinny, the thing with Tubby, like, hey, brother, man, this can go south in a hurry. unless you unless you get this going, right? He understood the assignment.
Yeah.
Billy G did not. Cal did. Pope does. I think that's fantastic.
It was
Kentucky coaches.
Karen Mills told us he was at his grandfather's funeral or somebody's funeral when Tubby got hired, and people were still coming up like, man, we don't like his hire. We ain't feeling this Tubby.
Yeah.
I want to say he was at his granddad's funeral. It was crazy.
And yeah, I won't go too much into that, but look, I get it. We have to bash Cal. I get it. I've been married before. I got an ex-wife. I know what it's like when you're like, oh, I got this new one. I got the new thing is better than the old thing. Well, okay, but it ran its course, and you can look back and say it wasn't all bad. There were some great moments, but it ran its course. It's okay to say those things.
That's it.
But I do love what Coach Pope is doing.
That's it. We do. You got to. Like you said, he's just putting the right touch on everything. So and he got that perspective and just real well thought out and all the details so far. As you gotta like it. Gotta like that our guest is backstage on the phone, friend of the show, coming off a run in the state tournament, Sweet 16 run, making it all the way to the finals. He's the head coach of the Harlan County Black Bears. He is the 2023-2024 13th Region Coach of the Year. Glad to have him back as the season is here. Coach Kyle Jones is here with us. Coach, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Can't complain.
Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed being on your show. It's my pleasure to come back on here and talk with you guys for a few minutes.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you. Know the season is coming up, and it's gonna be that time with the games and all that. But I just gotta ask, and I know a lot of coaches might not do it. It's always looking ahead and focusing on what's next. But did you give yourself time to look back on everything that y'all did last season? Did you have time to reflect on it?
Yeah, I did. I had a little time to do that, and I think that'll be something that, as I get a little older and looking back, being from a small town, that'll always, be a big memory that I'll have. It's one of the greatest moments I've ever experienced in my life. Growing up in Kentucky, being a son of a coach, that's your dream as a coach or as a player to make it to refereeing and playing the state tournament. And then once we got down there, we had a little luck and got hot at the right time, and it was just really special and something I'll always remember and never forget. Always be thankful for those kids that was on that team.
For sure. And y'all the first 13th region team to get to Rupp and make a little noise. For a while been, one and done. Yeah. I want to say since was it Clay County and Ritchie then was the first time that y'all got there and won some games and made a run like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Clay County, that was the farthest a team in the 13th region has made it since 89, I think. Or no, I'm sorry, 86, 85, 86. So that was those Clay County teams of Richie Farmer that played, the great Allen Houston and Louisville Ballard. I was a young pup then. I always grew up hearing about those great teams. And, my dad used to take me to the state tournament a lot. It used to be, I remember going to when Richie Farmer played Allen Houston. I think I was 5 or 6 years old, and we went and they played them at Freedom Hall. It used to be played at Freedom Hall in Louisville. They used to alternate. But glad it's at Rupp Arena. It's just an exciting place, venue, and it was special. It was special. That was the first time in 80 years that a team from Harlan County had made it to the finals, and that was you Kentucky fans. I'm sure you all, we're all Kentucky fans here too. I am as well. But Wawa Jones, I'm sure you've heard that name. He played for Harlan. They won the state title in 1944. So it's been a while.
Yeah. That's it. The TV, we in our neck of the woods, Richie Farmer in Clay County, that was the name, that was the squad. Of course, he went on to play at Kentucky. You're the same age as us. How much buzz do you remember about Allen Houston and Ballard when you got there in Louisville? When you was
I definitely remember it being a thing with
Mhm.
Allen Houston and Reggie Farmer. It was a thing even in Louisville.
Yeah.
This little bitty Richie Farmer out here giving Allen Houston them buckets. Like that was a thing. I remember my brother telling me like, oh, them people from back east can give you some buckets. I'm like, I see that, So it made its way back to Louisville, no doubt about it, man.
Yeah. It's mountain schools traditionally, we've struggled in the state tournament, against some of those power teams from Lexington and Louisville, and it's just always special, when you come down there and have a team that's does that. It seems like the crowd kind of gets behind you and cheer for you for the little small schools or from a small area, and it's just really special.
That's why I hope they always keep the Sweet 16 the way it is. You win
Yeah.
your region, no matter what size you are, what region you're from. You can be, from Harlan and playing against Louisville. It doesn't matter. Just David Goliath. I just love it. I don't want them to class it up like all these other states. Just keep it the way it is, Sweet 16, man.
No, that's a question. That might be something for you guys to find out. But I want to say someone told me that there's only one other state in the United States that plays their state tournament that way. I think the rest of them are in classes.
Yeah, because Indiana switched from that kind of everybody. And I'm trying to think. But you are right, Coach. There's only one other place that does it the way we do it.
Yeah, it makes it special.
Which, of course, it's better because we do it in Kentucky.
Right.
The way we do it is the way you're supposed to do it.
Okay. And looking back, Coach, too, before we look forward again, you're talking about y'all making it to the finals there, the Sweet 16. You get to Sunday, and y'all, of course, y'all won, and you got to play Lyon County in the finals, but y'all checked out a hotel and nowhere to go, trying to find something to eat and a place to rest. Tell us about that, too, man.
Well, we won't make any excuses because Lyon County was a fantastic team. I've got to watch, of course, Travis Perry's playing with Trent at UK, and I've watched two of their other starters. Both are starting for mid-major Division I schools, so that's a pretty impressive Class A basketball team in Kentucky. So hats off to them. But it used to long ago the state tournament. Everything about the state tournament's great. Used to play, but the finals used to be on Sunday. But, we played Saturday, the second game after Lyon County, and then we had already checked out of the hotel, and we was fortunate enough, and I can't think of the people's name, that they let us go to a church in Lexington. So we got out of there like at 1:30 after media, went to a church, grabbed some Chick-fil-A, laid down on the floor, went back and played in the state championship. So it was wild experience, but he was going on adrenaline at that time. So definitely no excuses. Those guys, we was ready to play. We played Lyon County the year prior and they beat us in Louisville and King of the Bluegrass by 6 points. They just a phenomenal team and well-coached team.
Yeah. And they had kind of been to the state tournament 2 or 3 times in a row, and taking some lumps, and and you guys were, the year before, I guess I'd say, you lose to Corbin in the regionals, had a team that could have made some noise in the Sweet 16, but you were getting over the hump of getting to the state tournament. They're getting over the hump of not winning a state tournament. So just a couple of different phases of where y'all were as teams, I guess.
Y'all know the guy that was in our region the year prior to this. He was a pretty good player, Reed Sheffers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even they didn't win a game when they got to Rupp. He didn't win.
No, I think they lost in the first round both times, but it's just so tough to win down there. And I think a lot of it is if you can get over that first game jitters, because when kids walking on that floor and the crowd, it's just, you're nervous as a coach and as a player. So I can't imagine, I'm nervous as a coach. I can't imagine what the kids are feeling. So
Absolutely. Of course, everybody's proud of Trent and the way it worked out for him to beat at Kentucky. I'm flashing back again because we had him on here on this podcast. I'd reached out to you about maybe trying to get his mom or some family on.
Yeah.
Because this the week of the state tournament. I'm not even gonna ask you for Trent. I mean, because I'm not trying to be a distraction. Y'all ain't gonna blame Vinny and Terry for none, but you're like, oh, go ahead and have Trent on. So you were just like, yeah, sure, just have Trent on. And coach, we were able to have Trent on here leading up to the Sweet 16. So appreciate you for just being so laid back enough to let that happen.
Yeah, Trent's a phenomenal kid. I mean, he's going to continue to work at Kentucky, and he's a tireless worker. His time's coming. I really believe that, and and I think he's going to have moments this year where he's going to, maybe they might struggle at times in shooting the ball or something, and he gets thrown in there, and I just got faith if he gets that opportunity, he's going to make a big shot. He's a gamer.
Well, he showed that game. Vinny, what game was it? I was talking to you. He was guarding a bigger man down the post, and the big guy was like, I'm going to take him down low. And Trent is bodying him up, and he had to pass it back out. And what I tell you, like you can try to bully somebody from Harlan County if you want to. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it. You can try it, but that's not going to lead to a lot of success. So I've already seen bits and pieces of Trent's toughness, in those first couple of games before the Duke game. So I see exactly what you're talking about, Coach. Like he's going to be that guy before he leaves Lexington.
Yes,
he's gonna give us some memories where we're gonna be like, y'all remember that Trent play? Y'all remember, against Arkansas? I don't even know why I said Arkansas.
No.
But you remember that? So that's fantastic. I'm rooting for that kid.
Yeah, I really believe that. Kentucky's they got the makings of a real special team. How often do you have that much experience on a college basketball team? Coach Pope's just put together seems like a great group of kids. It doesn't matter who scores the most points or anything like that. And, and that's great that Trent and like Travis Perry's getting to learn from those guys. That'll be something they can take and move forward. And, they'll be those guys one of these days. They'll be the guys that people will look to them, from their experience. So that's just the way it is. It's kind of like starting over again when you move from one level to the next.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it. So moving on ahead to this year's Black Bears team. Of course, Trent moves on to UK. You got Maddox Huffback, who's committed to ETSU, right?
Yes, sir. We've still got Maddox Huffback. We returned 3 starters from that team. Maddox, I feel like, is one of the better players in the state. He got a lot of. He was gaining some recognition, and then when he had a breakout. That platform playing in the Sweet 16. That just propels kids if they perform well, and he done that. And I really feel like he's one of the top 5 players in our state, and I think he's gonna. He's already turned a lot of heads, but I think he's gonna have a big season for us. He has to have a big season for us. I'm gonna say that.
So he'll, of course, be, the primary focus of all your opponents, no doubt. Everybody's probably going to try to want to take him away and all that. How have you approached the fact that you're going to be hunted now? You're not going to be able to sneak up on anybody. You guys won the region, made a deep run, and everybody's going to want to, of course, give y'all their best shot when they see the Black Bears coming to the gym.
Exactly. We've talked about that in practice, after practice when we have our little talks before we break that, we're, it's different being the hunter from the hunted. And, that's a lot of teams, they're going to want some payback this year that, and we just got to be ready. Every season's different, every team's different, but, I feel like we've got a good group of core guys that, we got I basically say we got 4 starters back because we played 6 guys primarily last year, and we got 4 of those back. And those guys have got a lot of game experience, and that's hard to that's you can't take that for granted. They played 39 ball games last year and played against some stiff competition. So I think those guys are ready to step up, and we're going to have to get some contributions from some kids that don't have a lot of experience. So it's just a process. It's what's that old saying? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
It's a
So
marathon,
Mhm.
yeah.
that's the way we're looking at the season.
So that's a good way to look at it. Oh, we had Coach Cal on last week, and so I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked him. Are you pro or anti shot clock when it comes to high school basketball?
I would 100% love to have a shot clock in high school. And we was fortunate enough. We played Louisville DeSales in Covington, and we played at a gym that had a shot clock, and both teams agreed to do it, and it was the funnest basketball game, other than the Sweet 16 games that we played in all year. I mean, because there's so many more possessions. It speeds the game up. People can't stand out there and stall the ball, and
Mm-hmm.
fans don't want to see that, and kids don't want to play that way. I know it. If I got the opportunity in the game and we've got a lead, I'm not going to say I'm going to tell them to throw up a bunch of crazy shots. But if the shot clock, it forces you to be. It just there's so many more possessions in a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you saw those games that all throughout the year, but especially in the state tournament, in the fourth quarter, 4.5 minutes left. Teams up 7 or 8. They're taking the air out of the ball. And I'm like, oh man. And I mean, you can't blame them because they don't have a shot clock, but nobody really wants to see
exactly
free throws and fouling and playing keep away for the last 4 minutes of a Sweet 16 game. That's just
yeah. So, what was Coach Cal's answer?
He's with you. He's with you. He said finances probably play a role in a lot of different places, and finding somebody to operate it and pay them and that. But he would love to see it.
Hey, Mr. Hardy, in Harlan County, it's hard to find people to run the clock from game to game. We'd have to find somebody to run the shot clock as well. Shoot.
With the shot clock, you got to pay attention.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing, because we see mistakes at the NBA level, at the Olympic level. Like, you got to pay attention.
Yes.
Right. I did some football officiating, back years ago when my oldest was little, and usually I was the line judge, but there was a couple of times they have you clock operator, and there was a couple of times of the umpire was like, "Please reset the game clock because it was." I was like, "Oh, that was my bad." That was my bad. I'm sorry about that.
I just make the game so much funner. I'll give you an example. When we was playing Louisville DeSales, we was down, I think, 6 points with 1:30. And if there's no shot clock in that game, I would 100% say they beat us because they spread it out. We have to foul them if they make free throws, of course. But there was so many more possessions with that shot clock. We had a chance they had to take a shot. We come down and score, and then we end up tying the game and winning in overtime. So I just think it makes the game funner. Now, if I lost a game like that, I may say not.
Situational. I got you.
We pick and choose when we use it.
Now, another player that, of course, on the platform of the Sweet 16, everybody got to know and see play was Reggie Cottrell. Of course, we had his accident in the summer. Yeah. So how's Reggie coming along, and what's the latest on how everything is with him?
I'm glad you asked. That he is. Reggie is a phenomenal athlete. He has a lot of upside. There was some small colleges had taken interest in him after the state tournament, and I was so happy. And he had this tragic accident with fireworks, and he has had a tough road. He's had some surgeries, but I'm telling you, this kid is so tough-minded and relentless. He has been back in the gym practicing for a couple months now, and he's just worked and adapted, and I can't tell any difference. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's been a blessing. I'm just so happy for him, and it's made our team come together and be a little closer. And um, just a super special kid.
We definitely thinking about him. Of course, the whole state
Yeah,
was
Mm-hmm.
mesmerized by the flowing locks when they saw him there and everything. And to hear about the accident was definitely hated to hear that. But glad that he's continuing to work and definitely wish him the best and
yeah.
continue recovery for sure.
Thank you very much.
And we already talked about Trent going to UK. You also got a change on your staff because Gary Greer has stepped over to be the head coach for the girls, right?
Yeah, yeah. We're definitely gonna miss Coach G. He and I played together in high school, grew up together. We played for my father, and it. He deserves this opportunity, and I'm glad he got that opportunity, and we're rooting for him, and he'll be rooting us on as well, and it's good to have coaches, in your school that you can work well together with, and I think that's definitely going to be the case. And just really happy for him, and excited what he's going to do for our girls program.
Sure, and I'm gonna try to get him on here too for sure, and talk with him as he gets ready for his first season as a head coach. So, um, all proud to see him get that opportunity too.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure, for sure. Now, Coach, if I looked at the schedule right, I looked at Harlan's wrong last week talking to Coach Cal, so the chance of me having y'all's wrong is possible too. Was it Barberville first? Is that the first
That
game?
scrimmage, we don't. It is so hard to get home games, and I think a lot of it is as our location. There's not a 4-lane highway going in or out of Harlan County, so
Mm-hmm.
people can stop and play 10 different places, or they can drive up, across 2 mountains, or 119, come up 119 on a curvy road. So it's hard for us to get home games. So Barberville presented us that opportunity to play a scrimmage at home, and I was like, shoot, I was like, we'll play. So if you want to come, so we had 6 home games last year, and we got 7 this year. So we're road warriors for sure.
Wow, wow. And I saw, if I look right too, there's like a home and home with Bell County. Like you play them, and then it's like a week
Yeah.
off, and then you play them again. Is that something that's done all the time? I thought that was just a little neat. I was like, oh,
No, we just I wish we would do our district scheduling first. We've not done that the last couple of years, or I've not been able to. So, that's Bell County is going to be one of the better teams in our region. They're in our district. That's going to be tough. But if you got to play them, you might as well play them back to back like that.
okay, just get it over with, huh? I understand that. So, Coach, man, we're looking forward to the season. I'm definitely gonna try to catch you out on. Well, you got more road games, so I'll try to catch you on some road games and try to get back home and catch you at one of the few home games you got too. But
Yeah.
looking forward to it and wish you all the best for this upcoming year, man. And congratulations on everything y'all did last season too.
Yeah. Thank you all very much. Now, let me ask you guys live in Lexington?
No, I'm down here in Tennessee. I'm outside of
Really?
Knoxville. Yeah, I'm a couple hours from home.
Okay. All right. I didn't know, because I was going to say we play in Lexington this year against Frederick Douglass.
Oh,
So that might be one, if y'all could come and catch that one. Frederick Douglass is always really good, and we're playing at Lafayette High School, so that'll be coming up later in the year on a Saturday.
okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And everybody listening from home, get out there, especially around Lexington. Get out there to Lafayette and watch the Black Brass play Frederick Douglass for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys very much.
Well, we
Thank
certainly
you,
appreciate it, Coach. Good luck this season.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Appreciate you.
Guys.
Coach Cal Jones, Harlan County Black Bears, getting a little back-to-back hometown high school hoops flavor. And then we'll try to get Coach Greer, but he's coaching Black Bears ladies basketball team. So we'll get him on here at some point when it's convenient. But good stuff. Got our homeboy Gerard Baker in the comments too. Think talking about Kentucky Duke. Yeah, resilience of this team last night was inspiring. In fact, they kept fighting when their backs were against the wall for most of the game and found a way to win. Spoke loudly. Yeah, for sure, JB. For sure. And we talked about before we recorded, we got to backtrack, TB, because we forgot to even mention the passing of Quincy Jones, man. And like you talk about accomplishments and knowing everybody and doing everything, man. Just
I hate to quote Bomani, but he summed up Quincy Jones the best. He knew how to get all the right people in the room. And that's a skill, right? It's a skill as a producer. I think we hear producer, and I know for like my generation, my group, my demographic, we think of rap producers, right? We think of the Neptunes, we think of Dre, we think of Kanye before he went crazy.
Yeah.
And it really, for a producer, yes, you got to get the sound right. You got to, the big mixing boards, but it's getting the right songwriters to write the right songs for the right artists.
Yeah.
That was Barry Gordy's whole thing at Motown. Harlan, Dozier, Harlan, look them up. Look them up. We start talking about songwriting people and teams, like 80% of your favorite Motown songs, Harlan, Dozier, Harlan. And the key is you get songwriters that write to the strengths of the artist.
Yeah.
That do things to the strength of the artist. That to me is the big takeaway from Casey Jones. Woo! We talked about Casey Jones earlier. Quincy Jones was wherever he went, he wasn't reinventing the wheel, right? Redoing Fly Me to the Moon. Hey, let's do it like this. Frank, get here. Frank Sinatra, get here. Like, that was his thing, but there's a value to that. There's a value to assembling a team and getting the right people on a project, right? And that's what it was. And he kind of lived this charm life. I don't want to say charm, but he was popping up all over the place. For most of us in my generation, it was Thriller.
Yeah.
That is the feather in your cap. Because he was like, this Mike Jack, don't stop till you get enough. That was good. That was good. He did a lot of good stuff with his brothers. That was good. But I think we can do something different. And I've seen this tweet out and about talking about Thriller. Young kids like, it's only 9 songs and like 7 number ones. Like, and the 2 that didn't get released, jams. Like, jams.
Like, it's the efficiency. I mean, just like
when you look at Thriller, that's a 3-song run. I don't know gets topped by anybody. Because I'm trying to remember the order. Is it Thriller, Billie Jean, and Beat It?
Beat It, Billie Jean.
Beat It, Billie Jean. Thriller, Beat It, and Billie Jean. I mean, that's 3 defining songs. Like, what are we doing? That's a 3. That is amazing.
And
it was so revolutionary.
I'm weird, but I like PYT in the Late in My Life, probably the best.
PYT hits,
man,
right? And you try to act like that's it. Thriller don't have no deep cuts. You don't get deep cuts with 9 songs. But from start to finish, what? And I'm like, I'm a little kid jamming, and I'm like, I'm going to my parents' albums, LPs, because I'm an old person, right? And they had a lot of stuff. Quincy Jones produced stuff. Jeffrey Osborne, all that stuff. Like Quincy Jones. And then Now he's doing TV. With the Fresh Print. Like, what is that? Like, what?
Like
And
the EGOT don't even do him justice.
No, it was one of these things where Quincy Jones won life in the 60s. Like, he won. And he spent the next 50 years doing little side quests. I mean, come on, man. You give Frank Sinatra his iconic song. You give Michael Jackson his iconic song. I'm keeping it high level, right? I'm keeping it high level. And you put Will Smith on the map. Brother, what? Like, what?
Just
and so his book that came out, his memoirs, I was at 3 or 4 years ago, wild ass stories. But like, well, that's Quincy Jones. Did I ever tell you time me and Frank Sinatra and the president of Bahrain? We were like, what? Okay, yeah, whatever you say, Q. Whatever you say. That was the thing.
Nope.
And the vibe I always got from him was he was always the coolest guy in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you've seen clips of the We Are the World, like getting that together and that documentary.
Yeah.
And you've got talented but frustrated people. Like, there's that clip that was floating around, Bob Dylan, I think it was, that wasn't getting it.
He's
again,
like, I can't really sing, but I'm in here with these singers.
and so Quincy Jones gonna be, we got it. You do it. You do this like this.
Mm-hmm.
If you do this like this, we're gonna work it over here. That's a skill, because when you look at that We Are the World roster, that's a lot of heavy hitters.
Yeah, boy.
A lot of egos in there. Like, I don't know how you begin to divide up solos or who does the runs, but to do that, you have to have a Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Because there's that clip of, I think it's Cyndi Lauper. There's that little part where Cyndi Lauper and Huey Lewis and somebody else, and Michael Jackson is absolutely fed up. Absolutely fed up with it. Just like, whatever. Upset Michael Jackson is one of my favorite things. just disgusted, just thoroughly disgusted by that. Well, you need Quincy Jones to come like, all right, Mike, you go over here.
Yeah.
You know, and you need someone. Part of it is to deal with the egos.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. My biggest takeaway from Quincy Jones is he knew how to deal with egos.
And they couldn't just text each other. No, this is the 80s. Nobody's just available on their phone.
Right.
Hey, yo, group chat. Hey, we're just gonna be over here and just get this practice in. None of that. They all doing their, touring and recording all over the world, and and he coordinated all that. Unbelievable.
Again, that's a skill, very reminiscent of like a Phil Jackson. Like, he's got his philosophy and all that kind of stuff. But his biggest skill was to get Michael Jordan to listen to him. Was to get Kobe to listen. I mean, honestly, we've seen how stars do now. They listen. That's a skill.
And Dale Harris could have been y'all, but nope.
Hey, speaking of Dale Harris, I thought he was a serviceable coach. However, once we got boat raced in the 99, got swept out of the 99 playoffs, when you got peak Shaq and Kobe coming to his own, you can't run it back with Dale Harris.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get somebody.
Yeah,
and so, the Fever got a new coach. Sides is out.
Yeah,
and Stephanie White is in. And a lot of people are like, oh, Christy Sides. Look, I'm not an expert on coaching in the WNBA.
Okay.
Watching all those games, my thing with Christy Sides was she was the perfect coach when they had that rough start.
Hmm.
11 games in 20 days
Yeah.
without a practice. I thought her skill set was building this family.
Hmm.
Okay, great. Everybody's on the same page, but there were just too many stretches where the Fever, it's like, do y'all even practice?
Hmm.
Even when they were playing well, there'd just be stretches where I'm like, what are you doing? Like, take a time out. What are you doing?
Hmm.
And so with Indiana, you're like, look, we got Caitlin Clark. We don't need somebody learning on the job. We need somebody to come in and get this done.
Hmm.
And that's what happened. And that's okay.
Mhm.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, well, that's a Del Harris situation.
Hmm.
Fine coach. I think the Lakers won 2 or 3, maybe 4 Pacific Division titles under him. But that ain't what we do here, man.
Hey, yo.
Like that ain't gonna get that's not gonna get it done. The same way with the Lakers bringing in Pat Riley as the coach. People forget he was not the coach Magic's first championship. Westhead.
Westhead. Okay.
Yeah, not Westfall. That's
Mhm.
the Suns coach, but
Yeah.
Paul Westhead. Well, okay, they won, but we moving forward. We got this. Hey, we got to bring somebody else in, and we saw that with all the people with LeBron, all those coaches, and everything like that. You get one of these players, you got to figure it out. And I'm glad Indiana has figured it out.
Hmm.
I think it helps that the owner of the Fever is the owner of the Pacers.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of synergy around that. And so you've got Tyrese Halliburton and a bunch of the Pacers players at Fever games. Now you got Fever players at Pacers. Like I don't want to give the state of Indiana any credit, but I will. They're making moves. New coach, new GM, former UK assistant coach Lynn Dunn was the GM. She followed me on Twitter.
Hey.
Like forever ago.
Hey, coach.
But Indiana is serious about it.
So that was her first year as a WNBA head coach. Sides last year.
No, this is year 2.
Okay.
Right?
2023.
Yeah, 2020. You're thinking of you're thinking of our regular basketball, whether it's that dash, but 2023 is its own season. 2024 is its own season.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she was brand new as a head coach. I'm looking at her Wikipedia. She was never been a head coach before. Wow. She's assistant head coach at Louisiana Monroe, associate head coach at Northwestern, assistant coach at Atlanta Dream. So, yeah, she's still trying to learn to be a coach when she got Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston and all that. So this Stephanie White been a coach and I guess and all that.
Yeah, and she's the one we were talking about. We reviewed the WNBA with the Connecticut. I don't know how they got as far as they did because they run their offense through their power forward who can't shoot. Yet their offense runs fluidly. Like it makes no sense. It's like run your offense through Jokic, but Jokic can't shoot.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm sitting here watching, talk about point guard play. And I'm like, how are they doing this? So if she can bring some of those concepts, ooh, buddy.
To some people that can shoot. Wow. Yeah. Sheesh. Look out.
Because next year you get Caitlin playing off the ball a little bit, get her to play some of those, coming off some of those Steph Curry, Ray Allen like screens.
She'll enter the season rested.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Wow.
So how are things in Dallas, man?
Oh man,
I didn't know this until just this week.
Mm-hmm.
But the sun shines in the Cowboy Stadium. Like I said a couple weeks ago, like, look, I love that Jerry Jones is the one owner in the NFL that we hear from. I love it. But sometimes it's like, you ever hear somebody talk and you realize they've not heard the word no in a long time?
Yeah.
Like, you ever just talk to, it's easy to do when you talk to a kid, like, nobody tells that kid no. And all I get from Jerry Jones is no one tells him, you know what, that's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a home field disadvantage.
They built it the wrong way.
Yeah, every couple years, a crucial ball is missed because of the sun. This time it just happened to be CD and a touchdown. We have these little flare ups, and nope, it's fine. Nope, not going to go with curtain. I'm not doing that. This is way down the list of problems. This ain't even an issue that I meet. This ain't even on my radar. This is.
I heard of the issue, but if you remember a couple years ago, the playoff game against the 49ers, where the sun was like really, really bad that day. And I'm like how is this even a thing? Like, you done spent $2 billion on a stadium, but the sun blinds your team. And you finally got a scoreboard that the punters can't hit. Like,
did you see McCarthy's press conference the other day? This week after they lost. Somebody at the Dallas media, let's see if I can find it, said that because you can't make it up. That was all I said. That the sun is shining and was blinding Mike McCarthy's eyes. So they took like a projector or something to shield McCarthy from the sun. They're like, imagine that. What a novel idea. We can shield him during his presser, but no, these players, they got to be out here just trying to catch blind. So that's where we are. Yeah, here we go. Jonah Javid, who sports anchor down there in Dallas. The sun is causing a glare in the Cowboys press conference room. So there's a shield to block the sun from Mike McCarthy's face. Novel concept. I'm going to quote and tag you in that so you can see the actual sun shining on Big Mike's face, and it actually shielded the sun this week, right after the game, so he can have his press conference without being blind.
We should be beyond these quirky things in 2024. Like the stuff, you hear stories of the old Boston Garden and the dead spots, right? Or the weird angles and stuff at the old Chicago Stadium.
Yeah.
Or Candlestick Park sucked because the stadium sat below sea level. Like, we should be beyond all these little quirky things. Does Houston still have that weird outfield? That angled up outfield that Minute Maid?
They took the hill down.
Did they take it? Like,
I thought they leveled it out.
With the pole in the middle, like, come on, man. We should be beyond all these quirky little things.
Just Vanderbilt's gym should be the only thing left at this point with their whatever they're doing down there.
That's not even a gym. That's just Opera House. They put a basketball court in. Like, I went to the Kentucky Vanderbilt game. God, this is probably 10, 12 years ago at this point. I wanted to go in the basketball arena just to look at it because I've not been inside of Memorial. It's Memorial Auditorium, right? Is that
what Memorial Gym for them, Memorial Coliseum for us,
right? Okay, yeah, just to see it, but it's weird looking. Like we should be beyond all that.
Yeah,
all this quirky little stuff. I'm not even a fan of Boise State's blue field, but
I never either. It doesn't. It's never looked good on TV to me. I mean, I don't. But whatever.
And
you've been there. You could have talked to him. You was up there. You could have said something to him.
Man, between the games when I was up there, I went to go because you go look at the field and you go look at the they got the Boise State football Hall of Fame museum. I'm like, all right, sure, I'll check that out. And you can walk out onto the field. So I'm looking around and I see this guy and I said, hey, how's it going? He said, hey, but at the first syllable, I'm like, where are you from? at that point, the guy running the Hall of Fame was from like Mississippi and had that deep draw. I'm like, because I know you're not from here.
Mm-hmm.
You're what's hitting my ear is that sounds like home a little bit, you know. But the field is like it's blue. Like
Yeah.
I like what you see on TV, it's really blue.
Wow. Man.
And it just
It
seemed
just-
wild as all get out. And they still have the birds that think it's water and come in and skid across and
Oh,
and some guys got a job. You think your job's bad. There's an
Mm.
actual job. Somebody go scoop up the birds that have
torpedoed into the field. Man.
Yeah, they've added stuff, I think, to like dissuade the birds. Like, you know, like this is not water. I'm like, why don't y'all just change? Like, I can't believe Peter's not protesting. This is
You're
crazy.
right. Yeah. All the lives lost, man.
Yeah, all these birds and everything. Because you know, birds are dumb anyway.
Mhm.
But your Cowboys with the sun, man. So Dak's out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yo.
We made a trade for some receiver for the Panthers that I don't know why. Michael Parsons is back. It's just 3-6. That's supposed to be our last stand against the Eagles, and we saw how that went. If you're gonna save your season, plant your flag against Eagles and keep beat 34-6. I went to sleep on the game. I never do that.
I've done that a few times.
Katie put it on some Netflix. She was like, "Man, you ain't missed nothing." So
there's nothing wrong with that, man. To me,
it was
nothing wrong with that. Because for me, it was I didn't take a nap, but the Niners Rams, Jimmy G's last good run. We had to win the last game of the season to get in. We had to win to get in at the Rams, and the Niners down 17-0. I was like, well, let's watch a movie. Watch the movie, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Watch the movie, came back, and I'm like, and we're getting ready for overtime. I'm like, what happened? I had to go back and look, and I also turned off the TV during the Detroit game. NFC Championship game. I turned the TV off because I was like, not like this. Not like this. And I'm keeping up with it during Twitter, and I'm like, all right, time to get back on. And it was enough to see some of that magic and hurt my knee during Ayuk's catch. And hey, about the only team I don't turn off is Kentucky basketball. I'll watch every minute, even when it's ugly.
Yeah.
Even when you got to sit there, and I'm like, this is miserable.
The worst medicine.
Yeah. I did that when the Lakers lost Game 6 in 2008 to the Celtics. It was like a 30-point game with 5 minutes left in the first half. I was like, this is bad.
Yeah.
But I sat there and watched it. My first wife was like, you coming to bed? No, gotta. She's like, I'm well aware. But I'm gonna watch it.
So what we do. It's dumb, but we do what we do with it.
Yeah, but the Niners got CMC back, and looking a little bit better, a little shaky.
Tampa Bay came a little tough game.
But we got to clean up special teams, man.
Debo slapping the kicker and got him lined out to kick that game winner.
But I am just like George Kittle, or he's just like me. I don't watch field goals for any of my teams. I step out and I come back in. I don't watch field goals. I don't know why. So that Robbie Gould field goal against the Packers, where I made the dancing video, I didn't see the kick live. I'm in the hallway. Kate's watching. She's like, "It's good." And then I do my dancing. I didn't watch. I don't watch any kicks. I don't watch Kentucky kicks. I didn't watch Austin McGinnis, Louisville. I'm out. Like I don't watch them live. I don't know why, but I don't.
You and Big George. You and Big George on the same wavelength.
Yeah, so he talked about how he usually doesn't, but he watched the first one. He's like, Salah. So,
Good stuff, man.
but how the Rockets doing?
We 7-4. Still not really shooting better like they need to be, which maybe Reed can get in there and saw that. He's not playing as much as I thought. Beat the Wizards last night, so that always helps you get right because Washington is the league's punching bag. But I still think they'll be all right. They've got a lot of young players, and they'll be good.
Rockets are 7-4.
Yeah.
Currently
On
a
our way.
5th seed, 7-4.
Mm-hmm. On our way.
Boy, the Rockets ain't been over 500 since Akeem was playing. You like I just ignored Yao Ming.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Steve Francis, Tracy McGrady,
Mac and all that. Yeah.
James Harden.
Yeah. Straight back to dream. Unbelievable.
Woo-wee. Yeah, the Lakers are 6-4. They still in the play. Look, LeBron, you want to wow me? Just make the playoffs without a play-in. Get a 6 seed.
That's not a lot to ask, man.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be, but it is. Did you see all the stuff about Bronny? He's playing for the South Bay Lakers, but only the home games.
Oh.
And I'm like, what is that? Like, I don't know, but it's the best soap opera in sports, man.
Wow, only the home games. Like, what's he doing where he can't travel?
Look. Okay, I'm glad they went ahead and said that because the South Bay Lakers were coming here to play the G League team. And I was going to get tickets, but I ain't going to go watch no G League team if Brian, like, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
And I ain't trying to poo-poo those people's dreams, right? But it's the same reason I don't flock to AAA baseball. Like, I go to minor league stuff for the environment. I'm not there to watch great play.
The next, yeah.
I mean, I ain't trying to be mean about what people are doing, but if I want to watch great play, I'm gonna go watch the Timberwolves 2 hours to the north, or head to Chicago, which I assume they play basketball there. I don't know.
I guess. I think they.
Chicago fans are that whole Caleb Williams thing, man. Chicago just a poorly run franchise, like.
They ain't been right since the Washington game, and they won't be now. That broke them.
Like, just looking, and the thing that kills me about Chicago, just about all the teams, why are y'all acting like y'all a small market? That's what kills me. That's what kills my beloved wife about the Cubs is like, y'all don't need to be out here like the Twins and the Royals. Like, it's New York, LA, Chicago. Why don't y'all act like it? Like you're printing money for all these teams.
No.
And yet, it's been abysmal. Outside of the Blackhawks, I know the Sky won a couple years ago, and maybe the MLS team. I don't know, but like the big ones, and we can be honest. Let's talk about the big ones: the Bears, the Bulls, the Sox, and the Cubs. It's been a minute since any of those teams were really, really good.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way.
And the thing about the Bears is, can you not stumble into a quarterback?
Yeah, you would think.
The last 50 years, it's Jay Cutler.
And
that dude was doing load management during the game.
Unbelievable.
That dude was like, I guess I'll go back out here. But if the Bulls don't, thank their lucky stars that Jordan fell to them. What would the Bulls franchise be?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
So
true.
I understand Chicago fans. Like, y'all should be better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, all these big cities with multiple teams, I was looking at this, they have runs where the teams are successful. Where, got to give credit to Boston, but like there was a decade where all their teams won.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been stretches in LA where the Dodgers and the Lakers have won and the Kings have won.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much, the Rams when they were there. But anyway, but Chicago, man, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I follow a lot of Chicago fans. They stay angry, but they're angry because they eat that meat lasagna and call it pizza.
That last little dig in on him. Man, good stuff. Good stuff. Cowboys will continue to plummet. Your Niners will get themselves together and make a run. We'll get to the NBA for real, another month or so. Always fun handing Duke a L. And
yes,
thanks to Coach Cal Jones for hopping on here. And we just had a nice little fun show. And we always do. Appreciate everybody in the comments, everybody that's retweeting and liking. We appreciate that.
absolutely. And one last thing about Duke. I've seen a lot of Duke fans. This one that was making its way through Kentucky Twitter. This Duke fan was talking about our segregation area championships. Okay, cool, great. Vinny, do you know who we beat to go to the 1966 NCAA championship game and play Texas Western? Do you know who we played in the Final Four?
I feel like it might have been Duke.
So, okay, cool. Do you remember 1978? I was here in 1978, but do you remember that game? Who did Goose put up 41 points on?
He dropped 41 on Duke, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to me, the reason they love that Christian Laettner shot is that's the only time they beat Kentucky in the tournament, and we beat them 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
The Laettner game was the anomaly.
Yeah.
If we keep it at 100.
Sure enough.
Yeah. Well,
Mm-hmm.
because, people are like, the Cameron Mills and Scott Padgett, those shots, revenge for Laettner. No, Laettner was revenge for Goose Givens giving them 41 in the championship game.
That's right. Exactly right.
And for Pat Riley and them putting them out of the Final Four.
Mm-hmm. They would take, everybody would take those titles if they could, and add those 4.
Here's my 2 cents. Here's my 2 cents. Like, I am not out here beating my chest for the 1948 champions. Okay? I'm not. Fine. The banner's there. It's fine. My thing is, were other teams allowed to compete? Were they?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, cool. Every team that won an NCAA championship, do they hang up banners for it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oregon still has the one from 1939.
Nope.
Now, does 1939 basketball look the same? No, it does not. But is it a championship banner? Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So when everybody like, Kentucky, these old banners, look, man, everybody has up their banners from the 40s and the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana does. Kansas has those weird Helms championships that don't really count for anything. Like, everybody has them.
Don't. That's it. So
But even since then, we've been good. Anyway, but yes, beating Duke is good. And it's so weird because I want to beat Duke so bad, but I don't consider them a rival because I don't think we play enough.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another thing that Matt Norlander of CBS, this is the first time Kentucky has beaten Duke since 2015. Okay. Yes, true. But the context is Duke's only won 2 games in a row. Like, we don't play them all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Like, it's not something that happens every year.
Yeah. So there's, that's misleading for sure.
Yeah, and you know, you got to be better than that. And I
Mhm.
saw a lot of Louisville fans chiming in. God love them, man. Louisville men's basketball fans. If you all have been, look, I was going to respond to some of these Louisville fans, but here's my 2 cents. If you've endured the last decade of Louisville men's basketball, I'm going to let you chirp.
Yeah.
It's nonsensical, but do whatever you need to. Do whatever you need to. But they like, oh, y'all, Duke is overrated. Y'all, like, I seen y'all out here pumping your chest about Pat Kelsey in these exhibition games. You played one real team and you got your doors blown off.
There you go.
So slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen December 14th, but if history is an indicator, Kentucky going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this. If Louisville men's hoops ever has a 3-game winning streak against Kentucky, I'll write a $100 check and give it to Louisville Scholarship Fund.
There it is.
Because it's never happened.
Got money out there for Tennessee and Louisville. Y'all just got to.
Oh, that's right. I got money if Tennessee make a Final Four. That's good money. I should have invested that. And by the time Tennessee went, it would have been a couple of commas and a lot of zeros.
Yeah.
Interest earned, all that.
Uh-huh. There y'all go. Louisville, Knoxville. There y'all go. Here we go. We can get on over here. Enjoyed it. Appreciate you, TV. Appreciate Coach Jones. Appreciate all the guests and listeners. Be back again next week, and we'll do it all again, and we'll have fun along the way. Cast Talk Wednesday, PS3 Network, TB and Vinny. See y'all next week.